All right, what have I got here? Well, happy Valentine's Day. Well, coming up in a couple of days. Time to get ready for that, right? So if you want something a little special and different from the regular chocolates and things like that, this is a chocolate chunk and ginger biscotti. These biscottis are filled with chunks of ginger in there, candied ginger, dark chocolate, and then also a little secret ingredient I use in these biscotti. It's just a touch of almond extract, which just gives them a little zing and plays nicely against the chocolate and the ginger. Yeah, there's some chunks of ginger right there. All right, these, great gift to give somebody. And what you want to do is either give them a mason jar full of these, it'll be really nice, wrap a little ribbon around it, or take about 3 of them, wrap a nice pink ribbon or red ribbon around, and give that to people as a Valentine's gift. And suddenly you're going to have a whole bunch of biscotti fans. All right, let's go in the kitchen and make these right now. Now to make our biscotti, these are the ingredients we need. At the back here, 3 cups of flour, 6 ounces or 170 grams of dark chocolate broken into pieces a little under ½ inch, like about 8 to 10 millimeters in size, roughly. Here, another 6 grams, or 6 ounces, 170 grams. In this case, candied ginger. Now this I cut up a little smaller, like anywhere between an 1/8 and a 1/4 inch, right, which is about 3 to 5-6 millimeters in size. Just small pieces like this. This is the stuff you can get. You can get at the store. Candied ginger, little pieces that have been, lots of sugar on the outside and all, a little bit sweet. It's going to be a nice foil to the little bit more bitter dark chocolate. Perfect. Then across here we've got 3 eggs, a ½ cup of sugar. In case I used to do some kind of brown sugar. I like a pale brown sugar. This is my usual unrefined cane sugar. ½ cup of that. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a ½ teaspoon of almond extract. Now that gives it just a little pop of flavor in there. Just goes great with all the other, with the sweetness and all. So, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a large bowl, throw the flour in there. I'm gonna keep that bowl, I'm gonna use that for the eggs. Put it off to one side. Flour, the sugar, all the dry ingredients, the salt, the baking powder, yes, even the chocolate and the ginger, all goes in there. Get that off to one side. What I do now is just take a spoon or something and just mix this around until I've got everything distributed. I want that baking powder especially distributed throughout, the salt, and of course all the ginger and the chocolate. Now once I feel that's pretty even, put that off to one side. I'm going to take this bowl here, what the flour was in, crack eggs into there. Alright, then I just want to beat the eggs. Well, that's looking pretty good. Put the olive oil in there and the almond and vanilla. Mix that in. And now all we're going to do is make a little well in the center of the flour here. Pour that in. All right, that's all in there. And now just start mixing. Just going to do a little lift and turn. Then afterwards, it's going to be quite dry. It's going to be quite dense, so you can do a lot of chopping motion through it to get this all mixed together. What you just make sure is get all the flour mixture wetted by the wet mixture. So just keep chopping. This takes a little bit of time, and then it'll be ready to come together. All right, once you got it all basically mixed, what you're gonna do is get your hands in here. Let's split this into two. So just gonna bring that together, knead it a bit. Just get right in there. Starts coming together a bit. All right, now I'm gonna just scoop about half of that out of there. Start bringing that together into a loaf. It's quite a bit of squeezing to get this all to stay together, and then you can have a perfect biscotti. You don't want this too wet. Just like this is good. So there's about one ball. Actually, I'm going to go 3 on this because my loaf pan, I can put them across there. 2, 3, doesn't really matter. You're going to be slicing it up after anyways. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So what I want to do here is just kind of flour this counter. So a little flour over here, toss a little bit on there, and then you form these out into a loaf. So you're kind of squeezing until you get into a longer loaf. You want to get down to about an inch or 25 millimeters thick, kind of like that. Let's get a couple of these pieces of ginger in there. And then what I want is, you can see the width. The width is about 3.5 inches. So look about close to 80-90 millimeters across, roughly. This really isn't that important exact size. We do want that about 1 inch thick in height though. All right, so what I've got over here is, this is a baking sheet. I've just lined it with some paper. So I'm gonna place this guy on here. Oh, look at this. A couple pieces of ginger. All right, I'm just gonna keep forming these. There I got 3 loaves. All right, as my 3rd loaf is ready, put that on here. Okay, that's gonna go in the oven over here. The oven's at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. These are gonna bake in there for about 35 minutes. I'm gonna bring them out here, and then we start slicing them into the biscotti pieces. So see you in about 35 minutes. All right, those have been in the oven for about 35 minutes. My oven runs a little hot, so it was about 33 minutes. What I want to do now is I want to take these and transfer them to a cooling rack. Put that right over here. I'm going to let them sit here about 10 minutes. Let's cool down a bit. We still don't need to cool them down too much, because what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to slice those, and then they're going to go back in the oven again. So, see you back here in about 10 minutes. All right, those have been cooling for about 10 minutes on the rack there. What we're going to do now is take them onto a cutting board here, and I want to cut them into about 1/2 inch thick slices. So that's about 10-12 millimeters. Now what happens at the end here is that a lot of these ends just break up, so I usually just cut them off, and it's pretty good. All right, so now I'm just going to cut this. And as we cut each piece, just put it on. Oh, nice piece of chocolate. Chocolate everywhere. All right, I'm going to put each piece on the baking rack, their baking dish sheet. These are going to go back in the oven again, and I'm going to put the oven down at a lower temperature. The oven is going to be at 325 Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius. What we're going to do is we'll just, look at that, more ginger. We just want to dry these out. So I'm going to put it on the oven at 325 or 160, and then they'll bake for 10 minutes per side. So bake them for 10 minutes, then flip them and bake them for another 10 minutes. And I shall see you back here when these come out of the oven after that baking. All right, see you back here in a while. All right, so here we go. Chocolate ginger biscotti. What I'm going to do now is going to take these and move them to a cooling rack so they'll cool quicker. I like to leave them for about an hour on the cooling rack. Just want to bring them right down, cool right down, and then we can store them away. You know, the longer you leave them on the cooling rack, the better. Just get rid of any moisture that's left in them. They will be a little soft towards the center sometimes still, even after they've been in the hot oven, drying them out. But they'll soon be totally dry, ready to eat. Fantastic, just like that. I like to take them and dip them in a little bit of a coffee or tea and eat them like that. Great. Now you can make these into a really fancy, like a Valentine's present. I would wrap, like, say, a wide pink ribbon around maybe 3 of them and do like that. Fantastic. That's how I look at one of these. Look at that biscotti, full of chocolate, full of ginger. If you enjoyed this recipe, stick around. There's a lot more here on the Kuma's Kitchen channel. And these are all original recipes that I've developed over the years. This one's a pretty new one, actually, and it's very tasty. Also, make sure that you subscribe because every Monday there's a new recipe coming out. Again, all original Kevin Riley Kuma's Kitchen recipes. And if you're not yet a patron of Kuma's Kitchen, well, consider becoming one because for as little as $3 a month, you can be supporting this creation of more of these recipe videos. And also you get access to all the cool stuff that the patrons are getting access to right now in the feed. All right, now go make these biscottis, make your Valentine happy, and make cooking fun again with Kuma's Kitchen.